Hello again. Can I ask you a question to kick things off today? Do you feel appreciated in your job? Do you feel that others actually value your opinion, whether that is your clients if you work externally or your colleagues if you work in-house? Or do you feel like a glorified pixel pusher implementing the ideas that other people come up with? You see, one of the most common frustrations I encounter amongst those in our field is that we don't really feel valued. Sure, people make the right noises, they thank us for the work that we do, but they don't really listen to our ideas or implement our suggestions. We're seen as the implementer of other people's ideas rather than offering real business value. The problem is that we're often our own worst enemy in this regard because we fail to demonstrate that value. People don't value us because they can't see the value of what we offer. I'm actually relaunching my masterclass on encouraging clicks today, and that course is an excellent example of the power of demonstrating value. It's a course that helps students improve their conversion rate, and I created it at least in part because I found that working in conversion optimization changes how clients perceive my value. I noticed that there is a distinct difference between the conversion optimization work that I do and the user experience work that I do. When I work in conversion optimization, people are much more likely to implement my suggestions and willing to pay a lot more for my advice. And that's because the value of a better conversion rate is much more obvious to my clients than the value of a better user experience. When you can link your work to a financial return for your organization, you will find that your perceived value amongst clients and stakeholders increases significantly, meaning that you will be taken more seriously and that you can demand higher rates. So how do we make that link in people's minds? Well, if you work in conversion optimization, of course, it's relatively straightforward, especially if you're doing something like improving an e-commerce site. In that case, you can just track improvements in the conversion rate and the average order value, and it's easy to see the benefits that you're providing. If you're working on something like generating more leads, things are still pretty straightforward, but you might have to do a little bit of homework. In that case, you will need to be able to find the average order value and the percentage of leads that convert. And from there, you can work out how much any increase in leads generated is worth to the business. But what if you're not involved in improving the conversion rate? Can you still create a figure of your value, the amount that you're worth to the business? Well, absolutely you can. You just need to be a bit more creative about it. Let me give you a silly example. I was recently eating at Pizza Express and I was watching the poor waitress struggle with their shitty in-house app for placing orders in the kitchen. And I found myself lamenting the fact that nobody ever invests in internal software because they don't see the value in it. So how could we prove the value of redesigning an app like that to Pizza Express's management? Well, to do that, we're going to have to imagine a scenario and make that scenario as realistic as we can within our knowledge. So let's imagine we could shave, 3 seconds off each order that the waitress took, and that the average number of orders per table was, say, 4. That would save 12 seconds per table that she served. Now let's guess that the restaurant served 100 tables a day. That would equate to a 20-minute saving per day for that waitress and that location. A quick look on Wikipedia tells me that Pizza Express has 570 restaurants worldwide, and that means every day they would be saving 11,400 minutes across the whole of Pizza Express. Now, if Pizza Express opened 360 days a year, that equates to 69,350 hours that they could save. Now, let's pessimistically presume that they pay their staff the minimum wage here in the UK, which is £8.21. That's 69,350 hours times £8.21 per hour, which makes £569,363 that they could save per year if a designer looked at that interface. Now, doesn't that sound a lot more compelling? Now, that example, of course, is packed with assumptions on my part. I've guessed at things like the time saving that could be made, the average table size, the average number of tables that are served a day, the number of days that the branch is open, and the salary of the waitress. But you could still follow my logic, couldn't you? And you could see the value of a redesign. It still sounded impressive, and it put together a coherent argument, especially if the figures that I used were conservative, which they probably were. Yes, stakeholders and clients are going to challenge me over those figures, and I would have to be honest about their accuracy or otherwise. But I would go on and encourage them, well, look, you can see the potential here, invest some time in working out the real figures. However, even if they don't do that, you have made a correlation, a link between design and business benefits. You see, the secret is to lay out a logical path between the work you do and the business benefits that are provided, a path that the clients and stakeholders can follow. The details of that path and its accuracy isn't what's important. What's important is you can draw that correlation and that the link feels real. Now, you can use this approach for everything, whether you're working on encouraging newsletter signups or improving the experience of existing customers. In fact, there's no scenario that you can't draw this kind of link between. And if you really can't, then the chances are you're doing something wrong and you shouldn't be working on that particular project anyway. Getting into this kind of mindset does take a bit of practice, but it does work. Alternatively, you can make your life a lot easier and focus on conversion optimization instead. In which case, why don't you grab a copy of my masterclass on encouraging clicks? It's only open to new enrollments for the next week, so now is your chance to sign up for the next 6 months. Did you like what I did there? It was incredibly subtle ads. You'd never spot it in a million years. Anyway, whether you're working in conversion optimization or not, I honestly believe that you can see success in linking what you do with tangible business value. And I'm happy to help you. If you're struggling, just drop me an email.